Hey Exiles, PoE Academy here. 3.9 Delirium starts this Friday, and after reviewing the patch notes and doing some research on a decent league starter, I wanted to share my top 5 starter builds with you. All these builds were chosen because they are not just PoE warriors, but provide a solid and affordable way to start a league successfully. Links to the original build guides and PoBs can be found in the description down below. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to thank everyone who has subscribed to my channel. It means a lot to me that people like my content, and it shows me that my effort is worth it. My next goal is to reach 500 subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you can easily support me to reach my goals by doing so. The first build is extremely niche and powerful too. A Doomfledged Prism Split Arrow Saboteur. Yes, you heard right. This 300 IQ build by BladeX15 is not a meme, but actually viable. It is very tanky for a miner, and it has very good clear and decent bossing. You level this build with Split Arrow right from the very beginning. You can start using Split Arrow as a mine after killing Brutus. Always upgrade your bow, and if you can, get your hands on a Doomfledge at level 28. Pick up Pyromaniac from your first Ascendancy points, then go for Explosives Expert, Bomb Specialist and Born in the Shadows. This build requires some easy to obtain unique items. Doomfledged Prism is the first item you want to get. The Coated Shrapnel Jewel synergizes extremely well with this bow and mines, as it adds flat physical damage to your mines, which then is converted to elemental damage by the bow. Recommended items are a Drillneck Quiver, the Nomad Belt and an Aziri's Promise. Later you want to pick up a Chaos Heart for more survivability, and keep in mind that bow attacks from mines still hit, meaning that you need some accuracy somewhere on your gear. The next build in this list features Cyclone. Cyclone is still very strong even after all the nerfs, and because it scales with gem levels, it is a very decent choice for League Start too. This build imbues Impale to scale its damage to absurd numbers and does not require a lot of gear to get started with, but scales extremely well into endgame. Leveling melee has always been worse than spells, and most melee skills are not viable for leveling efficiently. If you want to learn how to level a melee character, check out Killer's Bladestorm run that is linked in the description down below. You can see that it's good to have a single target setup and one for clearing. We use Frost Blades to clear areas and Dual Strike for a single target until we kill Piety in Act 3, which is when we swap to Bladestorm. You can start using Cyclone at level 28 too, but I think that without any gear it feels somewhat bad to level with. I start using it once I've reached Blood Aqueducts. While leveling, make sure that your weapons are up to date at all time and use the vendor recipe for physical damage on weapons, which you must sell a weapon, a blue or a rare rustic sash, and a blacksmith's whetstone for. Pick Impact as your first Ascendancy node, then Headsman, Overwhelm, and lastly Bane of Legends or Endless Hunger, depending on your personal preferences. This build does not require any specific item. The only item I highly recommend is a Lion's Roar Flask. You don't need crit on your weapons due to the Overwhelm Ascendancy node, so focus on physical damage instead. The Scava Gladius unique sword is a cheap and strong weapon to start with. Get mana cost reduction either on your armor or on your jewelry. The Tempered Flash Jewel is a good and cheap way to boost our damage. It's worth mentioning that you can play this build as a Juggernaut or Champion too. Check out the original build guide if you want to learn more about the build. This summoner build by K is very strong and designed as a League starter and SSF build. It takes you from Twilight Strand to endgame without any gear requirements. I've chosen this build since skeletons received quite a big nerf in 3.10, while zombies and spectres weren't hit too hard, and this summoner focuses on spectres as its main damage source. An advantage of spectres are that you can find hard-hitting melee spectres, fast map clearing spectres and everything in between, which gives the Spectre Summoner a lot of flexibility depending on what playstyle you like better. You level this build with minions right from the beginning. In Act 1 you use zombies and skeletons or summon raging spirits. Start using spectres once you've received the skill gem in Act 3. Kay provides a gem checklist in her build guide where you can find the gems you should have equipped by the end of each act, which is very nice for new players. Regarding ascendancies, we pick up Mindless Aggression first, then take Unnatural Strength, Bone Barrier and Mistress of Sacrifice in this order. Gearing this character is very straightforward. Get as much life on all items as possible and always cap out your resistances. Get a Convoking Wand with +1 level to minion skills as soon as possible. Useful unique items for this build are a Blood of the Karui and a Rumi's Flask, a the Jinxed Juju Amulet and a Vis Mortis body armor. Kay has written an extensive guide which covers anything you can ever learn about Spectres, and she also provides several build options for skills and itemization, so you might want to check that out too. Next up is a lab farmer that abuses some mechanics to achieve up to 400% movement speed and is almost unkillable in Überlab. It is not very strong at high tier mapping nor at killing endgame bosses though, but it excels at running lab and making profit from lab, and it's a lot of fun. The core of this build is a Winterweave ring which reverses the effect of chill on you, meaning that instead of slowing you down it will boost your action speed. To afflict chill to ourselves we use a hardbound loop ring. This ring damages us with physical damage each time a minion dies. We trigger this with a weapon swap to a Scepter with the Triggers Spectral Spirits when equipped mod on it. Once we swap back to our main weapon, the minion dies and hardbound damages us. The easiest way to convert physical damage taken to cold damage taken is by crafting our chest piece with an Essence of Horror that grants 15% of physical damage from hits taken as cold damage. To increase the duration of the chill, we equip an Auxium belt. This setup increases our movement speed by roughly 200%. You might think that this build requires a lot of effort to set up, and you're right, but if you plan to make a lot of money from the labyrinth, then it's definitely worthwhile. If you don't want to use Cyclone as your main skill, you can pick up Charge Dash or Sunder too. Leveling this character is the same as leveling the Cyclone Slayer. The required baseline of items for this build to fully shine is a Winterweave ring, a hardbound loop ring, an Auxium belt and a scepter with the minion mod. In addition, I'd recommend a Devoto's Devotion helmet and a Karui Charge amulet for even more movement speed. If you have enough money, you can upgrade your Rare X to a Kingmaker X or an Aziri's Disfavor, but that's not necessary at all. Taste of Hate and Lion's Roar are very good flasks for this build. The build owner, Nathan Bolton, has released a good video guide on this build which explains everything with more details, so you might want to check that out too. The last starter is a very cool Poison Blade Vortex assassin. Blade Vortex has been one of my favorite skills for a long time, and I'm excited to share Genesys Steph's poison approach with you guys. Blade Vortex is a great way to stack a high number of poisons on a target because it hits hard and often. With no limits in how many poisons you can apply at one time, the damage ramps up a lot in a short time. A disadvantage of Blade Vortex is that you must be in melee range to deal damage, but luckily this build was made with the mindset of a hardcore player that moved to softcore, and it turned out to be very tanky. Leveling this character is simple. You can and should use Blade Vortex by level 12 and make sure to link it to lesser poison. You can use Herald of Agony at level 16, which gets procced by your Blade Vortex and gives you a lot more damage, especially on single targets. The build goes for the Assassin Ascendancy, which provides a lot of synergy with the build. I like to level quickly, so I'd pick Opportunistic as my first Ascendancy, but if you prefer a safer playstyle, pick Noxious Strike first, then choose Toxic Delivery and finally Mistwalker. This build does not require any specific items, but our defense benefits a lot from a Kintsugi armor and an Arn's Heritage shield. Corralito's Signature, the Wise Oak and Witchfire Brew are all unique flasks that significantly increase our damage output. Make sure to get a weapon with +1 to level of all active skill gems and Chaos Damage Overtime multiplier wherever possible. Check out Genesys' guide if you want to learn more. I hope that you like these builds and that you will start with one of them. I will probably go for the Cyclone Slayer, although I found the Split Arrow Miner build also very tempting. Have you decided on a build yet, or are you still searching for one? Which build do you think is best as a starter? If you don't mind, tell me in the comments. Thanks for staying with me until the end, and see you in the next one.